Welcome back, 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 welcome back to the playthrough. We're here once again in the Royal Maze Rants playlist, in the podcast playlist, to talk about things that don't really matter. But oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, do they really matter. Today we're going to be running through that magic maze. We're going to do the end here, the Room of Rebirth, and then we're going to do the first stage, which is also going to have a little bit of a hell world in there because we are in hell world. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about here with this topic. As you probably can see, the title may surprise you. It may enlighten you. You may agree with it already, but what we're talking about here is the holy righteousness that is within us all. And if I will endear you to take it a little less seriously, allow me to convince you that it is cringe, that it is indeed cringe, that what we're all avoiding in real life and on the internet, you know, avoiding being, avoiding becoming, avoiding. Yeah, that is exactly what God is, you know, where we're actively avoiding it on the internet when in reality you just gotta move towards your cringe, man, because that's where the holiest of thous shall reside. But yes, if you look at, yeah, we're just gonna jump into it. I'm not even gonna like, you know, explain the game or anything. At this point on the channel, guys, you should know it's Dragon Quest. It's an MMO. We're just fighting shit as we do here. I'm just fighting. I'm just brawling. But yeah, as you know, the whole symbolism and the ways of God and religion is, you know, comfort, basically. It's, you know, finding solace in a being that is higher than you, that knows more than you, that you can put your faith into, because especially nowadays, we live in a low trust society where you just kind of want someone to take the wheel and have a plan for you and sort of guide you using divine, you know, whatever to allow you to see a way through that you possibly couldn't see yourself. But yeah, all in all, if you really think about it, that's just like, and maybe this is just me, perhaps. I don't think it is though. But it's like when somebody is really head over their heels for you and they're like, oh my gosh, I love you so much, you're the best person ever, and I'm showering you with so much affection and love and courtesy and yada yada yada. Like, it's good sometimes. If you're that kind of person, then maybe it's good all the time. But for me, it's pretty freaking cringe. It's pretty freaking cringe. And it's like, it's not like it's a bad cringe. This is the thing, guys. Being cringe is where you truly, you know, awaken yourself and become the person that you're meant to be, right? But you got to acknowledge, you know, just call a spade, my friend, and be like, you know, what we're doing here. It's just, you know, it's platitudes. It's lip service. It's, you know, not entirely as truthful as it could be if we just, you know, uh, truly went on the human experience of how we allow each other to feel day by day, and, you know, took it that way. You know, not to say that the cringe moments aren't necessary sometimes to truly express how we do feel, but yeah, I feel like it's the constant overflow of love and affection that just never ceases. It's like a volcano that just keeps erupting and erupting and erupting, and that's how it can feel when somebody. Well, it's that's the thing with the crushes, guys. I feel like it's never double sided. If it's double sided, then you know it's double sided. You know what I'm saying? If it's a crush, then of course it's one way because it is, of course, a crush. And whenever one person, of course, is got that crush phase going on, it's so like, you know. And that's how I feel like God is with people, you know. Like he's just cringe because he's got this huge crush on you. And he's like, I'm never gonna leave you, I'm always at your side, nuzzle you know, all this shit. And it's cringe, it's meant to be cringe, you know, so that we can sort of emplace that energy on something that is already here because it's within us, you know, because we are all gods, we are all gods of our own time, of our own space, of our own realities. And so if you look at it that way, then it's like it's as if we are all holding that space within us to have the cringeness in order to move it on to another vessel and perpetuate the cycle so that a god can become a god and a god and a god again and again and again and again. But yeah, I just think the entire cycle is cringe, especially when it seems like it's cut off because of the whole the crush aspect of it. You know, you never really know who's there, truly to take the blessings that you're giving. We're not even talking about a reciprocal thing like I'm not gonna do anything back. No. Sometimes people cannot hold the love you are ready to give them. And this is just a fact, man. You try to give them something, and then you put it in the oven, and it comes out a cheeseburger, and you were trying to make a cheesecake. That's a whole different taste palette, man. Cheeseburger, cheesecake, we can eat one or the other at a time. But if I'm expecting a cheesecake from you and you come up with a cheeseburger, I'm not gonna be happy. I'm not gonna be happy. I'm not gonna just take this shit and be like, yeah, no, it's fine, no worries. It's still got dairy, I guess, so this is cool. No, I'm not. No, I'm taking that shit. Okay, and that's sometimes what you can give to people, and without even realizing it, you're setting your own grave. By doing this cringe shit, by doing this godly shit, and being like, yes, I will never leave nor forsake you, or whatever, because that's like, it's like, I don't know if you're trapped in here with me or I'm trapped in here with you. That's like, it's that kind of vibe. So, and you never really know. Well, actually, you do know. I feel like oftentimes it's a feeling, but it's a true feeling that you can get in your gut from anywhere. My problem is that if I'm still having a good time, or if I'm still learning things, or if I'm still growing by being around this energy, I'm still gonna be around it. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm really here for. Romance, I've just decided, even though it's something that really makes sense to me, sometimes we have to live in an area that doesn't make sense for a very long time in order to just stay in that stasis of things that do make sense. And this is one of those times where I just got to stay in the confusion era, because the growth has not happened yet. The growth has not been actualized yet. Yeah, and so a lot of times when we're trying to get this godly nature in us and try to give so much, and truly not subject others to our reality, but combine our reality and connect it to a sort of given space, it can come off in a multitude of different ways. And one of those important ways is cringe. Super cringe, ultra cringe, mega cringe. And I feel like this is the most common thing that people really get from it, This is it, it's just like this is the main component. But the problem is, it's like, when you're making a red velvet cake, of course there's chocolate in there, right? It's not the main ingredient though. And the cringe is in there, okay? But when you put the cringe with the wrong ingredients, it just comes off bad. And that's what you have to realize. And sometimes it can't even be your combination of ingredients. Sometimes it's like, man, you put it on the wrong tray. You gave it to the wrong person, That order was not meant for that table, And so you have to relax in the fact that, hey, maybe we're growing here. Maybe we're elevating here. Maybe this is not the last stop. Right? Can't be. Perhaps. Can't be. And even still, I'm learning things that I feel like I should have known, which is something that I really need to release. Because there's no use being hard on ourselves for, things we should have gone through already, or should have discovered already, or should, would have, could have, whatever, man. There's no use of doing that. It's all relative, really. And everyone has their own path. So I have to be kind to myself and allow others to be kind to me. Because that's the one thing, you can be kind to yourself, but you can just completely be unaccepting of other people's kindness as well. And that's not good either. But you do have to realize that the cringe cupcake, especially for people like me with the godly intentions at all times, the cringe cupcake is always here to be eaten. It's just sometimes your flavor's off. Okay? Sometimes your timing's off. Okay? And sometimes people just did not want the meal at the time. But you got to realize what the meal is. It's a cringe meal. It's a cringe chicken. Okay, it's cringe fries, cringe nuggets, And you can't change that. You know, you can't change the general essence of the godly nature, okay? Because that's probably just gonna make it more cringe, honestly, if you think about it. If you try to like alter it and be like, oh, you know, I'm kind of sort of never gonna leave you or forsake you, but it's like whatever, you know, tsundere shit, you know, that's even more cringe, honestly. And you think you're being cool, you think you're being nonchalant or whatever the fuck, but it's still cringe. It's still cringe. It's because it's like the security. It's like people want the danger, the I don't know where I'm at, you know, the anguish of who knows who I am or whatever, the drama, the chaos, the energy, you know, of a loose cannon, and you can't really fake that, you know, you can't really fake that. That's something that it comes from the DGN heart, you know, it comes from the true rigmarole, you know, of living a lot of life and having to go through a lot of shit. And not to say that the people who are godly and cringe can't have lived a lot of life and gone through a bunch of shit, but it all depends on what you do with the raw materials, okay? With your raw materials, I feel like either way, if you are having the undying, the unconditional love, it's cringe. And I hate that we've even created this word to acknowledge the feeling in our hearts of caring, because that's all it is. That's what I feel like cringe really is at its core. It's when you care about something a lot and you're not afraid to show it. And you know, the passion from showing it can sometimes, it can put people on edge. It can put you on edge because you're putting your heart on your sleeve. And that is what God always does. We are his creations. We are his children, you know? So he's obviously going to put his heart on his sleeve when he's trying to tell us that he loves us and he appreciates us and he, you know, wants us to grow into vibrant, beautiful human beings, you know? So of course, man, that's where the cringe comes from. But you have to realize that, you know, you can't just give your cringe to everybody and expect everybody to just clench their buttholes with you. You know, you can't just have a butthole clenching party with every cringemanite that you come across. There's got to be a balance somewhere along the line of things you see and things you do and your actions you take from those. There's got to be a sort of balance, a tightrope balance, if you will. Not everybody's going to agree with essentially what you are on the inside. Like, what are you really? Not everybody's going to agree with that. Not everybody's going to say, yes, this is wholesome. This is what I understand to be true and righteous and, you know, not everybody's gonna understand that. Just like people, like, you know, with God, they killed his son. They put him on the cross, you know? They destroyed his ass because he was cringe in that time. And that is what they will do to you if you just have unconditional love for everybody. It's like, how dare you love everybody, you fucking weirdo bitch. You know, especially if you're a guy. I don't know if this would even go well for women because, you know, we're kind of leaning towards the intolerant left. So if you're somebody who's against not allowing you to kill babies, then how dare you, you know? It's my choice. And I really am one of those people, you know, I don't like to throw it out there all the damn time because I don't like having that target on my back. But I am indeed one of those people that believes that we all deserve unconditional love. There's good parts to everybody, you know, the happy-go-lucky thing. And I am a little black-pilled because, like I said, I don't like to shout it from the rooftops or anything like that. That's why I really try to be low-key because I've held on to these morals for a very long time. And I'm still holding on to them, even though I'm witnessing so many horrible things and horrible people and firsthand witnessing the backstabbing nature of the horrible internet and whatnot, and even still just being like, it's not really their fault, you know? They just didn't understand me. I just didn't understand them, you know? There was just different timings for things, and I just make up all these excuses. And so I really think that a lot of this godly stuff that we do, the reason why it's been shunned so hard by the internet and being like, it's cringe, this, it's that, I think it's because we need to protect ourselves. We really do. We need to protect ourselves from this world, this era that really wants nothing good from, the youth or the future. It really just wants to drain them, as we can clearly see, for data. And taking a step away, taking a step back, really can help your psyche in that respect. And that's what I've sort of been doing, or at least trying to do. The internet's a weird place, so I feel very comfortable in places sometimes, so it's hard for me to leave, if you will. And I really have nothing but this channel and you guys. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching the video this far. We're almost done. I don't have too much more to ramble about God being cringe and whatnot, because I've pretty much made my point. It's that, you love, and you love hard, you love long, and no matter how you put it, it always turns you to the simp category. No matter how you put it. I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds all red pilly and stuff like that, but there's a reason why these terms exist in the first place. It's not like it's all sort of bad, It's not like simps are inherently horrible people. It's what the simps do with the love that they have. And, the long-term love, if it's not built, if it's not put with something you're building, if it's not put with your own life and reality, then yeah, you will go into simpdom, because you don't have anywhere else to put your money. You're just in her world. But if I feel like if every simp had his own world, and didn't simp for just the one girl, you simped for multiple girls, then I feel like the world would be, it'd be a different place. It'd be a different place. It'd be very, very strange. It'd be Game of Thrones like. It would be a lot more chaotic. It'd be a lot more drama. But at least people would be more active, in some way. And there would be a little bit less cringe, but it would still be pretty freaking cringe. I'm not even going to deny that fact at all. It would still be pretty freaking cringe, because love in itself is cringe. That's probably going to be the next episode title. Like, God is cringe, and then I'll go love is cringe. But yeah, it's just so bad to think that this is what the internet has done to us. This is what it's wrought, essentially. It's just people not understanding where you're coming from, or where others are coming from, in terms of love and unconditional values, and being there for you, and friendships and relationships, and just not understanding it, because a lot of people that started the internet were neurodivergent, and that's how it was built. It was built for the neurodivergent. And now that everybody's on the internet, it is no longer being built for the neurodivergent, and there's a lot more neurotypical people on the internet, and thus these phrases like cringe became a thing, because when the neurodivergent come upon this thing like the internet, we do have these strange, biblical, godly nature about us when it comes to creating friends and alliances and whatnot. Like, it's serious to us. It may seem like just some dumb internet shit, and it is just some dumb internet shit. Let's be real. It always is. But for the people who have nothing, and probably will have nothing for the rest of their lives, it means something. It means something to be anywhere. Watching a video, watching a stream, surfing a website, participating in a forum, browsing a Reddit board, and being on a Discord. It all means something. It all has value. And inherently, a lot of people try to discount that value, and put it in a box to where it's like all this just nerd shit. And yeah, well, to a certain extent, it is just some nerd shit. But if this was a different era, like Jesus would be put on the cross for doing all these damn things, and helping people along the way, and along all of them, and it's just where you are at, and the trail that you leave is your legacy. And the cringe part about this God thing is the fact that, all he did was just try to help and try to give, and yada, 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 and, sent his son, and dies for sins. And it's all just so much for you. It's all for you. It's all for you, baby. That's all I'm trying to do, is just help you. I can help you. I can help you. And it's the cringe, man, because it's like, maybe we don't want the help. Maybe we never needed the help. And this is why I'm on my JRPG journey to kill God in the first place. It's really wanted to be born out here in this world at this time, at this period, or at any period really. But we're here. We're here to suffer. We're here to live. We're here to die. And we kind of have to deal with it no matter what. And I know a lot of us are pissed off at that fact, but you really can't argue with it. It's got to come from the heart. Whatever you do, it's got to come from the heart. And thus you create more cringe, and the cringe cycle continues because you're going from the heart. You're going from that heart chakra. You're going from that throat chakra, from the heart chakra, and you're speaking these words of love and affirmation, and oh my God, it's cringe. Oh my God, it's cringe. And here we go again, because it's like, I'll never leave you, God, and you'll never leave me. And then, we're cringing together and all this wonderful shit. But yeah, guys, it's the cycle of life. Do not deny it. Do not run from it. Embrace it. Embrace your cringe, because that's where the happy is. That's where the mistakes happen. That's where the beautiful magic occurs. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a good day, friends. Have a good rest, and I will see you next time.